In this demo, I'm going to look at basic Zoom meeting management whilst you're running your course or online event. Let me share my screen. For the purposes of the demo, I'm going to leave this toolbar available so that you can see what it is that I'm doing and how I use the toolbar to share content. Now, let's just familiarize ourselves with the basic Zoom screen, and I've given you a link to basic Zoom navigation if you require, which basically tells you explains to you in detail how to do all of these different tasks. The link was given to you in the infographic. Now, let's have a look at the layout of the screen. I'm going to click on participants and I'm going to click on chat. Now, I'll click on participants, and on the right-hand side here, I can see that I'm currently computing cow. The other two meeting participants is Bytes Bunny and Data Dog. I can see that the meeting is being recorded and I'm sharing a screen, and then I'm unmuted here as well. If I click on more, it allows me to rename myself and to make some changes. Now, when I'm in a meeting and I'm the speaker, I will click on Spotlight for everyone. So I want myself to be visible. So I'll spotlight myself. And then I become the only speaker that's available now. Then I can change the view on the top here as well to gallery, multi-speaker, gallery, multi-speaker, immersive. We can choose one of these. Okay, start. Okay. So you can play around with these kind of options, but not necessary. I'm going to leave it as the speaker view. Now that's basic management. Now, on the right-hand side, I can see as well, Bytes Bunny is muted. All right. I can replace Spotlight. I can add to Spotlight. If I add to Spotlight, then two people become spotlighted on the screen. I'm going to go back to Bytes Bunny, and I'm going to say remove from Spotlight. Here as well, if I wanted to make Bytes Bunny a co-host, I will click on the person's name, and I'll say make Bytes Bunny co-host of the meeting. And I can also take that back. So I can withdraw co-host permission. Also, let's say, for example, I made Bytes Bunny the host of the meeting. So if Bytes Bunny is now the host of the meeting, and it was a mistake, because I have created the meeting and I have logged in, I can go back here and I can say reclaim host. So if I make a mistake and I make someone else a host, I can just go back and I can reclaim host, and then I become the host of the meeting again. And then I can go here and I can make Bytes Bunny co-host. Right, so that's other volunteers or tech support will be doing these kind of tasks. Anything else we can do here? We can ask participants to start their videos, and we can rename participants in case they have not named themselves correctly. We can rename participants as well. If I click on the chat now, you'll see it's given me the chat window here. I'm going to just snap it inside here. It's maximize that screen. I want to pop the chat into here. So you can take out the chat box or you can pop it in here. It depends on you. Now, what can I do in the chat box here? I'm interested in more here. For example, if I'm doing a meeting where I want the participants to only chat to the host and the co-host in a silence course, for example, then I would choose host and co-host. If I choose meeting group chat, it means that the participants can chat to each other without chatting to the host. And that might be distractive or disruptive, okay? So you can choose, or you can entirely disable the chat as well. So there's the chat options that you have here. In the participants window as well, if everyone has been unmuted, you can mute all by clicking on the mute all. If I click on the more here, you can see I can ask participants to unmute if I wanted them to start talking. I can mute upon entry. That means automatically when participants join the meeting, they will be muted. The sound indicates that the sound is only audible to myself as the host of the meeting, so that I have an audio prompt to see when people are leaving or entering the meeting. I can lock the meeting, enable the waiting room, or put people into the waiting room if necessary. So if I say enable the waiting room, now if I go to Datadog here, you can see it allows me to put Datadog into the waiting room. So there's Datadog that has been put into the waiting room, and then I can click on admit. So I need to physically allow participants to join the waiting room if the waiting room has been enabled. I'm going to disable the waiting room. Then allow participants to unmute themselves. I can take this out. If I take the tick out from here, it means that participants will not be able to unmute themselves. So if I say here, ask to start video, right? Ask to unmute. Then I can unmute people by giving them permissions. So that's an unmute option. So I'm going to go more and I'm going to allow participants to unmute themselves. In a silence course, you don't want to give people to unmute themselves because this might be a mistake. I can also mute other participants. So if I go to a participant here, it will allow me to mute that participant if they were unmuted. For example, here, it gives me an option to mute myself. It will do the same for other participants as well. Now, have I stopped sharing screen? Or did I not share the screen? Okay, so there's the sharing screen again. So you can see my meeting controls. So I was busy talking about the participants windows here. If you click on more, you have a number of options here that you can use as well. And then I also spoke about in the chat box, you can allow people to chat to your host and co-host, or to chat to each other, or to completely disable the chat. The other thing that you can do here is you can look at host tools. So host tools allows you to suspend all participant activities. For example, if there's unwelcome guest in your meeting, you can suspend all participant activities. That means participants are not allowed to do anything in that meeting, and then you can remove those unwanted guests that you might have in that meeting. Next important thing is the sharing of documents, sharing of screen. So if I click on share, it gives me a number of different options now here. The ones that we're going to have a look at is, if I wanted to share my entire desktop, I can click on my entire desktop. In my case, I've got two screens. So if I wanted to share two desktops, I can do that as well. So I can see on my second desktop, I've got something there. I'm just going to change that, and I'm going to move something across there. Okay. So on my second desktop now, I can press the Shift key, hold it down, and select both the desktops, and now click on Share. And you'll see it shows me both the screens. As the host, if I've got two screens, or if I've got multiple windows that I wanted to share, I can select multiple windows. If I go to sharing again now, and I wanted to share a video, so I could then go to the video, but you'll see I'll need to open up the content that I want to share first, okay? Because it's not giving me the option to share those items here. So we're going to do a typical scenario where I want to share music in the background, or I want to share, I'm going to just stop sharing now. So stop the share. And then I'm going to just share my desktop. Back to sharing my desktop. And I want to now go and open up the content that I want to share. I want to share, remember I created a folder earlier where I had everything required for this session. So I'm going to go to my documents, and there's the info session. I've got an audio file. I'm going to double click and open up that audio file. So there's the dissolve audio file. I can also adjust the volume in the app. Sometimes I might want to play audio in the background. I'm just going to cue that up. So I'll pause that and I'll minimize it. Then there's a video that I wanted to play that's on my computer. So I'll play it. I'll pause it and I'll minimize it. And then there's a YouTube meditation that I might want to share. And also a screensaver or a PowerPoint. So I'll open up this picture that's available. And now I'm going to go and select a YouTube video. So I'm going to go into YouTube, and I'm looking for meditations by Gurudev. And there's a meditation here. So I'm going to open up, I'm going to pause it, and I'm going to move it across to my second screen. So it's queued up. And now I'm ready to share my content. I've got it, I'm prepared to share. So I'm going to click on share. The first thing that I'm going to share is maybe I want to share meditation in progress, and I want to play some background music. Okay, so I'm going to select this one here, and I'm going to click on share. So it will share the screensaver or meditation in progress. And then in the background, I can play the meditation music or the meditation. So I'm going to play a meditation now in the background.
Just project your mind 100 years from now.
Okay, so that was the first scenario. Next, I wanted to share a YouTube video. So I've opened a YouTube video. Can you see it's appearing here? Because I opened it and I minimized it. I had it prepared. So I'll click on it. I'll make sure that share sound and optimize is selected here. Then I'll click on share, and then I'll click on share the video. Sorry, I'll click on play. And then I
Just for
can
1 minute. 100 years later, what will be there? Your form will not be there, your name will not be there, and none of this will be there. Just 1 minute, close your eyes and just say, 100 years from now, everything dissolves, all these.
and then I'll click on stop sharing, or I can go back to sharing my desktop, and then I'll click on stop sharing here. Okay. If I just wanted to share, so if I'm the speaker and I'm demonstrating something and I wanted some background music whilst I'm doing some yoga or dancing, etc., then I can do that as well. So I can go to share, and this time when I'm sharing, I'm going to click on advanced. And when I click on advanced, I'm going to click on computer audio. When I click on computer audio, you will see that only my computer's sound is going to be shared and my video is also going to be shared. So if I click on share now, you can see me as the speaker. I can be doing some actions and doing some demonstrations. And then in the background, I'm going to go to my music player and I'm going to play that background music. Just going to increase the volume a little bit. I hate to sleep. I want to play, let me get the content, the background music. So I've got the background music playing now, and I can adjust the volume and I can perform any demonstrations that I needed. So I've just shared the computer sound. On the top right of the screen, so on the top right, you can see that the meeting is being recorded, but also there's like a speaker icon next to my name. That means I'm sharing computer sound. If, for example, I've forgotten to hear the computer sound and participants are complaining they cannot hear, click on more. And then from here, I'll click on share. I'm going to share my screen again. Okay, so here I'm going to click on more from the toolbar. And then you can see that there's something that says share computer sound. If it's off, that means your participants cannot hear. So it either needs to be on mono or stereo, right? Stereo just means it's higher quality sound. And mono, this will use more data. This uses less data. So it must not be off. So you can change it here as well. So I'm going to stop playing that music in the background now. So the basic process was to go and open up the information that was required to be shared so that when you actually do click on the sharing icon, you can see what you need to select to share. Okay, if I wanted to share my poster, for example, I could share my poster. So there's my poster that I've shared, or whatever other images, maybe it's the break time or whatever images is required, you can do that. So I'm going to share my desktop again. And that's basic meeting management. These are the common tasks that you would perform. The other thing that you could do is the breakout rooms. So the breakout rooms, generally, I would automatically create the breakout rooms. In this case, there's only 3 participants in this meeting. So I am going to create 2 breakout rooms for demonstration purposes. I'll say create. Now, when I've created the breakout rooms, you'll see it allows me to move Bytes Bunny to room 2. I can move Data Dog to room 1. Okay, I can click on exchange. So it will exchange Data Dog to room 2 and Bytes Bunny to room 1. So I'm going to say exchange. So it just swapped them around. I can also rename the room. Okay, so this might be instead of room 2, maybe this is private chat. So if there's a participant that I needed now to have a private chat with, I can create breakout rooms, okay? And I can control the settings of these breakout rooms by clicking on the settings icon here. Allow participants to choose the room? No, generally I allocate participants to a particular room, so I'm in control of who is in which breakout room. Allow participants to return to the main session at any time. That means before their session is up, they can return to the main room. I will not allow them to return to the main room. Automatically move all the assigned participants into the breakout room. I will check this because when I open all rooms just now, you will see it will automatically take the participants from the main room and move them to the breakout rooms. It will not prompt them it will not give them a choice to move to the breakout room or not. Auto close the breakout room. So for how long must the person be in the breakout room? They must be there for 5 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 20 minutes, etc. And then when it's time up, how many seconds must it warn them, right? Here I can choose any amount of time so that they can wrap up the session in the breakout room. And then once I'm happy with these options, I can then click away and say open all rooms. Now, the rooms that I have created, those participants will be automatically moved into those rooms. So you can see now, Bytes Bunny is currently in room 1 and Datadog is currently in the private chat. As the administrator or the host or the co-host, I can move in and out of each of these rooms. So if I wanted to now go and have a private chat with Datadog, I'll just click on join here, and it will allow me to go into this private chat room. I'm not going to do that because the recording won't work correctly. And then whilst I'm in that room, I can click on end to return to the main room. Okay, so whilst I'm in that breakout room, if I click on end, it will give me a couple of options here, right? And it will allow me to leave that breakout room and return to the main session. Broadcast is a message that I can send a voice broadcast or a broadcast message. In other words, I want to send a message to all the participants in all of the rooms. So it can either be a broadcast message or it can be a text message. Plan next session, right? I can now reconfigure the breakout rooms if required, okay? So I don't want to do this. And that's a basic demo of the participants. I can see these are the rooms. This is the participant view, right? So in the rooms, I can see who's in each of the different rooms. And then if I'm looking for participants, it says Bytes Bunny is in room 1. Datadog, where are you? We're in the private chat. Okay. So I'm going to close all rooms now. And now click on close room. it says all breakout rooms will close in 7 seconds. It's basically counting down from the time that I allocated, and it will automatically return the participants to the main meeting. And that's briefly how to work with breakout rooms. So I can close this. When I click on breakout rooms again, it's there. But if I wanted to change now and create more rooms, I can say recreate. And this time I want 6 breakout rooms, and I can then change the rooms, and I can change the settings here as well. And it will be according to whatever the scenario is that you are working with. And that's the breakout rooms. And that's a basic tutorial on working and managing your Zoom session, muting everyone, moving them in and out of breakout rooms, enabling, disabling the waiting room, the chat function, if people or participants raise hands. Then also Datadog, you can see here, is not connected to computer audio. So there's no microphone. That means Datadog can only see but cannot hear. So that person would need to connect to computer audio. If I go to the drop down here, there's an option that says leave computer audio. Datadog here would need to join computer audio. All right, so, and then there's more information and lots of Zoom tutorials that show you what all of the other features are all about. This was just basic Zoom navigation. And that concludes this tutorial.